You know, guys, one of the recurrent questions that I've gotten for years, not just on YouTube, but in life in general, is why aren't you having sexual reassignment surgery, Rosie? Why aren't you having your gender confirmation surgery? Isn't this the natural and end goal of every transgender girl? And you know, when I first started transitioning, I really believed that that was the totality of the whole transgender experience. But then I realized, you know, in other words, when I first started getting into counseling many years ago, I naturally assumed that you hook your car on that cable and you're on that line and you're ready to go. I didn't even know you could opt out, to tell you the truth. To me, it didn't even seem possible almost 20 years ago that there were girls that didn't get the surgery because it boggled the mind, at least to me. Well, times have certainly changed a lot, and as I went along and started going into group sessions and transgender counseling, I understood that 70% of the girls don't ever get it done, but a great percentage of them detransition and go back to male mode. So the question is, where did I fit on that spectrum? And the more I thought about living my life as the total female, say as Jen does, the more I started to feel uneasy about the prospect of living that full on kind of life. I didn't feel mentally. It's not a question of needing that. Like when Jen did her considered when she first found out it was even possible that you could change your gender like that. It was just like a flash of lightning just came down and hit her, and within 2 years, she was done. I mean, it's remarkable when you think about that. But when you think about the great bulk of the rest of us out there in the transgender community, male to female, we're this mass moving along with hormones and things. And some of us are not going to make, the great majority of us are never going to make it to that end game, the ones that are going to peel off and detransition. You know, the other ones that to find out that they really had autogenophilia, or what they were really seeking was just the thrill of the joy of dressing and seeing themselves as a woman. Another kind of split off. Others are depressed, but the great bulk is still left that are not having a sexual reassignment surgery. And a lot of that is financial. Let's face it, it ain't cheap. $22,000, $25,000 when you put travel and all those expenses in it. But in my particular case, as I went along and my dysphoria started many years ago, and I was one of those guys that put it to the back of my mind and did manly things like shooting and fishing and crazy stuff in Hawaii, shore fishing and huge waves and all this. I did all these things, sports and all that. And the more I tried, the more I couldn't outrun myself. Okay. And then one day I realized, you know, you are what you are. I didn't wake up and choose to be transgendered any more than a straight person wakes up one day and says, I think I'll be straight. Okay. It is absolutely baked in the cake. And when I came to that realization, the second phase was hooking my car onto the cable and seeing where it would go. Okay. And when I went along on the journey and I started hormones and I got my breast augmentation done the first time almost 3 years ago. Yeah, 3 years ago. Boy, it was, you know, I was still kind of on that basic track. And then I got my breast augmented. And I'd been so many years on hormones. And, you know, I thought one day I woke up and I said, hey, I don't have the dysphoria anymore. I don't have that feeling like I'm not living life as a female anymore. And it was a great day for me. I still firmly believe that a certain segment, 30% of the girls, need to have gender confirming surgery to have reinforced that they are well and truly in their mind and their body female. But I think there's a good bunch of us, a large percentage of us, that can go a certain ways along and reach a certain point where we do wake up one day and say, hey, I don't feel like I can unhook from the cable now. This feels like home to me. And I've often compared that to stops on a train. Some people go all the way through to the end, and some people get off along the way. Okay, and that's what I compared it to. You know, unless you've been on hormones and experienced that feeling like, yeah, I've hit it. I've reached what I need to be to feel like me. Then it's hard for you to sort of relate to a girl that doesn't want to go all the way and have that done. But this is part and parcel of why being transgendered is so in the mind. Okay, it's not driven by sex needs and other things. It's driven by the fact that you are transgender, recognizing that you are, accepting that you are, going along and reaching a point where you've successfully dealt with your dysphoria to the point that you can actually live productively for the rest of your life with all of your other pursuits, work, family, and everything else, and find happiness. And that's exactly what I did. That's why I'm not having SRS. Thanks so much for watching tonight, and your comments and questions are always welcome. Thanks.